Okay, so we're live now. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us in today's webinar. My name is Shivam and I am the marketing manager at ZapScale. ZapScale, as you might know, we are a customer success platform for B2B SaaS businesses. Today we are presenting how to fuel your CS engine with data and automation, presented by Kundan Sengupta, who is the Upsell and Retention Specialist at ZapScale. Just a little housekeeping before we begin. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box or the chat box in your Zoom control panel. I will bring them up at the end of the webinar. Also, since this is a 30-minute webinar, in case we miss answering any questions, don't worry, we will get back to you with the response through email. We will also be running a couple of polls based around the context of the webinar on which you can participate and let us know your views. Now, without further ado, I will let Kundan take this forward from here. Over to you, Kundan.
Hey Shivam, thanks for the warm introduction. Welcome everyone. Love to speak with people, and it's great that we're talking about how to fuel the CS engine with data and automation today, because that's what I believe is the need of the hour in this current situation. Just a little background about me and Shivam. We have decided to go back and work with our ex-bosses and the same founders that we have worked for a very, very long time. I was a part of the core team of ThreadSolve, which was a SaaS startup in fashion tech. We were the first fashion tech SaaS startup to get acquired back in 2019. And from the experience that we have had in the journey, we have come up with a tool which is ZapScale. Would love to talk about that sometime in details. But yeah, that's where we are. And this is what we are going to cover today in our discussion. We are going to quickly focus on how can we change this downturn or this current macroeconomic situation that we are about to get into a winning situation for the business, and how can CS play a very, very important role in that. However, to achieve that, there are certain challenges which we see from our conversations every day and from the data which comes up through different surveys and reports. And we would also talk a little bit about what should be the right way and the right approach for you to, spend your time in terms of innovation and automation in. So yeah, without further ado, again, let us move to the topic straight away. The positive side of this economic downturn comes from this data. McKinsey and company had did a nice analysis and a report back when we were in the COVID period. Of companies which went through the 2008-2009 downturn, and they found out that people and companies who invest in innovation during the crisis actually not just have a margin over their competitors during the crisis, but they even outperform them when they have moved out of the crisis situation. That's what we can see from the graph here. But the question remains that, for us right now, B2B SaaS companies, especially India, Southeast Asia, what is the one place that we would, need to innovate in, would want to, find a better solution? The answer again lies in the data. If we look at the growth report 2022 by Twilio, they say that almost all B2B SaaS businesses are preparing for this macroeconomic condition. But the major step that these companies are taking is towards improving customer retention. And if we look at the situation right now, just from common sense, it makes sense, right? The sales cycles will be becoming longer. We know that there's a little bit of, constraint in terms of budget. People are not spending as they, used to a few days back, years back, and so on. So yeah, your cost of acquisition was already high. It has gone up higher, which means that we cannot focus on growth at all costs anymore. We will have to ensure that we look at the bottom line, we look at profitability, and we look at retention, because cost of retention was always lower than the cost of acquisition. And if you talk about your bottom line, if you look at your retention, if you can improve your retention, you improve the lifetime value that you're getting from the customers. which in turns, improves your bottom line. Not just bottom line, if we even look at it from a revenue perspective, there's a very cool article by Mosmi. We'll share the link with you. Mosmi is my CEO and co-founder. I've again worked with her for a very, very long time. She has been running SaaS businesses for the last, 10, 12 years of her life, and has a major laser focus on CS as one of her core functions. This article and this, for the maths nerds, you can go through the article and you can see that there's a very, very clear connection between your retention, reduction of churn, and your ARR. In fact, this data shows that if your churn can be reduced by 1%, in 3 years, your ARR can grow by a 38%. Which again brings us back to the fact that focusing on retention during the downturn makes sense. But then again, it's not easy because the budget cuts are still there. The freeze in terms of continuing services is also there. People are looking at tools and products which are absolutely essential for their business right now. So it's not easy. What you need for your CS team is CS intelligence, your customer intelligence. Just like we have been, arming our sales teams with sales intelligence all throughout this time. So it's impossible for the CS team to do it by themselves and solve this problem through adding more manpower or adding more hours to the work. What they need ideally to better retain their customers is have a complete track of the customer's health throughout the life cycle stages, right from the beginning. And the ability on top of that to proactively help your customers derive value, because value is king. If your customer is not deriving value, they'll not stay with you. We all know that. And at the end of the day, the health score and the ability to proactively help your customers should arm you with intelligence enough to predict retentions, to predict churns, to predict upsells, like a clockwork. Just like we expect our sales and marketing engines to run, we should expect our CS engine to run at the same way in terms of providing them with arms and ammunition, data and automation. So what we have discussed till now is basically this, that turning a downturn into win is possible, but demands you to innovate and invest in innovation. Majority of SaaS companies right now are looking at retention as a major focus. So to achieve that, what your CS team needs is to keep on top of your customers and users, reach out to them proactively, help them achieve value, and to retain and renew them like clockwork, even during this downturn. And this is not what I am saying. If you look at the Customer Success Collective's State of Customer Success Report 2022, this year, the current edition, you would see that majority of the people who have been respondents to it have been looking at automating two key aspects in their CS function, which is your customer health checks and your CS ops or your CS operations. Now, what are we talking about? What is basically customer health check? It means that tracking of your customer across all interaction points that they have with your business. So your customers interact with your business in multiple ways. They don't just use your product. They have multiple channels of interaction. And this is majorly used to predict the retention and expansion revenue for the customers. That is what we are looking at. So it has two parts to it. One, get data from all sources. Two, crunch it in a format that gives you actionable intelligence and revenue intelligence. What are the typical, touch points that a customer has with your business? Let's look at that. Let's look at the first part of the problem first. The customer or any customer would have users and they would be interacting with your product. There would be a usage aspect, which would include how they're adopting your features early on in their life cycle and even going further once you want them to keep adopting more and become more dependent on your product. And how are they achieving product use case based outcomes, values from your product through running use cases, workflows in your product in the correct fashion, in the correct cadence, in the correct timeline with ease. Apart from that, your customers, whenever they face a problem in terms of, logging onto your product or anything like that, would be raising a ticket to you over HubSpot, Zoho, Freshdesk, any ticketing tool that you use, your third-party applications. They would be requesting features from you over Jira or Freshdesk, wherever you store them. They would be writing emails to you. They would also be making payments against the, invoices which are raised to them in a payment tool like a ChargeBee or a Stripe. So right here, we can look at, a lot of touch points. The problem is not just the touch points. The problem is collecting the data from all the touch points becomes difficult because this data resides in silos. It's in different tools. It's with different departments, like ticketing information would be there with the support guys. Your product team would majorly own the feature requests and the product usage part. Your finance team would own the, invoicing and the payment health part. But at the end of the day, it all culminates to what the customer is going through. So it's all the CS person's prerogative to be on top of. But we often fail in that because it's a time consuming process. And even if you get the data from all places once, twice, once a month, it's not something that you can do every day or every week, right? The second part of it is, even after you get the health, you would need to define what a good health looks like, what a bad health looks like. Who would I categorize as a bad customer? Who do I categorize as a good customer who would renew with me? And to do this, you don't have like standard parameters like you have in the hospital. Like when you go and get a test done, you always get benchmarked against, a standard parameter, against how everyone in your country or in your age group or in your, gender is categorized on. Here, to create the health, you are solely dependent on the experience that you have. So that brings us to a quick poll here. Wanted to quickly understand from you that how does your SaaS organization currently do the customer health scoring? And if there are challenges, what is it? Is it the culmination part of it? Is it making sense of it? Is it just tracking all the sources? So I believe the poll is live. We would wait for you to put in your comments. Shivam is running the poll, so Shivam would give us a green signal when we are good to go ahead.
Yeah, I've launched the poll. We'll end the poll in the next 30 seconds. So please enter in your options.
So what we're trying to understand here is, how do you look at your customers' health? How do you track, whether they're achieving the right things from your product or not? Have they, adopted the key features or not? Do they have a lot of problems in terms of using your software? Are they a feature fit customer with you? How do you handle that? What are the things that you track? Are you being able to track everything? That's what we're trying to understand. So yeah. Shivam?
Yes, I have launched the poll. Just sharing the results now.
Awesome. Okay, the results are here. I can see it. I'm not sure if all of you can see it. The majority of the people are saying that they are collating data from a few sources, which is awesome, but not all the sources. So great. And the second highest AAA rate is from the place where they're saying that, yeah, they have a customer success platform. That's awesome. That's something that you definitely need. And others are saying that it's really difficult to get the data from the different departments. I understand your pain. I've been there in your place. I've run the upsell and retention back in the business in ThreadSol. So I understand what you're saying. So absolutely, I think that's where majority of the people that we are talking to right now are also saying that's exactly the place, which is why we thought of going ahead and discussing it out today. So the major problems that we see in the B2B SaaS companies that we speak with regularly is this, that typically, since, as you said, it's difficult to collate the data. You can collate the data from a few sources, but not all. What happens is, building a health score, takes very long period of time. Even if you're going through a route of a CSP, what happens is that it takes 3 to 6 months if the CSP is asking you to create the health score. A CSP basically is a customer success platform. Typically, a CS team that we have seen tracks 5 to 10 KPIs in their health. So their health is combined of 5 to 10 things that they're tracking from the customer. Like, okay, let's look at feature 1, let's look at hours of usage, and let's look at monthly active users, daily active users, and the basic stuff like that. And the health definition of the KPIs are majorly conjecture based, which means that I as a CSM would have to decide that if I'm looking at creating a KPI for ticketing, I will have to decide this rule that, okay, greater than 10 tickets, I have a problem with this customer. Less than 10 tickets, I would say that, yeah, they're doing okay. Less than 5 tickets, I would say that they're green. But the problem is that, what is the data which tells me that greater than 10 tickets is bad? Has it happened that, when a person raised more than 10 tickets, they have churned out? Even if it has happened, is that the only reason why the customer is churned out? If not, then how can we, create this health parameter that greater than 10 tickets is bad or less than 5 tickets is good? It does not make sense, right? To avoid these situations, I mean, it's not something that you can solve by yourself. I'm not saying that you could have set up better matrices. It's just that there needs to be a customer success platform which will automate the health scoring for you. Not just give you a platform where you build the tools, but you would need a automation which comes with pre-built data-backed health scoring system for your customers and users, which is extremely quick to adopt. Like, imagine going to a hospital and doing your blood test. You do not tell them that, I need to test exactly these 52 items. You do a 50 point check. There is a standard parameter, you get done, you get the results, you understand it straight away. Your health scores that you create through a customer success platform must also consider all touch points that your customer and user has with your business. Because if you're missing out on one, you're not looking at the entire picture of the customer, which means that the health score that you're creating is again something that you do not completely trust, because it does not talk about everything that the customer is going through with your business. And along with the pre-built part, along with the integrations with all your data sources, you should also have the flexibility. When I say you, I mean your customer success team, not your product team. Your customer success team should have the ability and the ease of dynamically tracking and choosing which features to track in my product against each customer for their adoption journey. What use case based outcomes do I want to track? Must have this ability, and this ability must reside with the customer success guys, because it's impossible for a SaaS company again to keep going back to the product team when they want to add a little bit of tracking in one part of the product, a little bit of more tracking in a new part of the product, which has been frequently released or recently released. So here, let me quickly take you to ZapScale and show you how it's done in a very, very, very quick fashion. What we do is you integrate your sources first. So you go to settings, you integrate your SaaS application, you integrate your peripheral applications. In peripherals, you integrate your CRM, you integrate your ticketing app. These are the ticketing apps that we support right now. We integrate with your email. We integrate with your feature request apps. Again, a vast range of apps that we can already integrate with. We'll look at your payment health from payment and subscription tools like Stripe, Zoho, ChargeBee, and so on. And that's it. Your sources are connected. Your 6 sources are connected. Your product, your CRM, ticketing, email, feature request, payments. And based on all of that, there are tons of pre-built health KPIs from all these applications, which at the end of the day gives you a view of your customers, which looks like this. You can go to any date, week, year, quarter wise range and see that what your customer is going through. This is my customer. This is how important it is. I'm making $3.6 million from them. And this is the most nearest or the recent, renewal date that they have. This is the overall health score of the customer, which is derived from how they're interacting with your product, with your peripheral apps, your CRM ticketing, feature request, email communications, your payments. What is the unique upsell possibility of this customer? And also, what does the CS person or the CS team who's actively involved with the customer think about the health of the customer? So we also consider that. But this is the only entry point that we have from a human perspective. As you can see, everything else is pre-built and automated. And along with the customer view, you can also see that what's happening with the users within this customer. Like for the second customer, you see that 2/3 of the user are actually not, very frequent or very good users of your product. Maybe they have not adopted the features very well. Maybe they are not spending enough time. Maybe they don't have a dependence. Maybe they're going to reduce the number of, users that they have going in the future. You can, from here, at any point of time, deep dive into looking at who are the users who are doing bad, or I can even go inside a customer and look at how this is a dashboard where you can see the macros of the customer, how the health scores are trending. You can even go down to an individual KPI level. You can look at from usage perspective, how much time is this particular customer spending week on week? Where does this make this customer stand in percentile against all my other customers in the same bracket, in the same segment? You look at the pages visited, you can also see the unique features score. Now, this is a power that should lie with the CS, like I was saying, that I can decide as a CS person that what are the key features that I want my customer to get adopted and in what timeline. So for that, what you can do is you can do this part very, very easily without even, going back to your development team. All you need to do is, on top of your product, like just imagine this is your product, which is a very simple leave management tool where you can apply for a leave, your managers can go and approve it. You say that I want to open the ZapScale's Chrome extension from here. And on that, I'll want to tag a feature. You name this feature, anything, so that you can, have a track of it, and you simply drop a pin on the feature and save it. What this allows you to do is that it allows you to track how this particular customer or user is adopting with the unique features. And you can also look at the heat map of the feature usage from the all data section, where you see, all the live features requests that they have, all the invoices raised for them. You can also see that how they're adopting this particular feature. You see that when they started back in the week of 15th August, their adoption was not good. Then you did a little bit of, CS activity on them. You did education campaign about the feature. You trained them a little bit, and the feature adoption started picking up. And any point of time, you can also go back in time and see that how the feature adoption was in the last season, or whatever you want in terms of looking at how the feature adoption has been going on for this particular customer. So yeah, that's how health scoring is done in ZapScale. A quick summary of it is this, that ZapScale comes with 40 pre-built health KPIs to create the health for your customers. You don't need to spend any time doing that. How we do that? We basically collate 150 data points across all your touch points, product, your features, your ticketing, your payment health, your comms, your CRM, where you have the truth of the customer, and you just plug in the sources through the ready integrations that we have. From day 2, you get to see the complete picture of your customer's health, how they're adopting the features, and so on. And this also lets you, as I was saying, help your CS team dynamically create their own target features that I want my customers to, adopt in this time period. And they can do that without needing any help from the development team, without writing a single line of code, just by dragging and dropping the features. And so what this means is that there are 40 pre-built KPIs. On top of that, you are building your own KPIs from the product. So you end up in a range of 50 KPIs. Let's say you've built 10 KPIs from your product. Now, your predictions on revenue are not based on a health score which has, let's say, 5 to 10 data points in terms of KPIs, but something which has a 40 to 50 data points. So obviously you can imagine the more data you have in terms of prediction, your prediction becomes a little bit more, secure and trustworthy. So that's how we do it in ZapScale. quickly quickly summarizing what we talked about in customer health. Manually gathering customer data is tedious, as we all know, and it's time consuming. That's something that we saw in the poll results as well. To obtain a comprehensive health score, you need to, of course, take into consideration all touch points that the customer has with your business. And a CSP, a customer success platform, enables you to do this. So ideal, way ahead for you if you want to do better retention in this downturn and you want to do it predictably, is to go look for a customer success solution which works for you. Now, is tracking your customer health enough? Is this giving you the power to actually do everything that you want to do? The answer is no, because CS operations is also extremely important. It's only built on top of your customer health, but then if you look at the CSMs on a daily basis, in the SMB segment, they handle anywhere between 50 to 250 customers. In all B2B segments, there is no CSM who handles less than 10 customers. The average range is like 10 to 150 customers every single CSM is looking at. That's crazy. And it's the intelligence lies with the CSMs themselves, which means that creating success plays or replicating a play which has worked for a customer becomes very difficult. So it's not a scalable process where you can add more people and solve it. As a result, CS as a function remains mostly reactive. You do not have an alert and alarm system which can help you to proactively help for the customers. That's what people in this in this report are majorly talking about in terms of automating CS ops. So what you end up doing is that, typically a customer success team creates 10 to 25 playbooks at max. And majorly their playbooks for, greedy situations. When a customer has not made payments, what should I do? When a renewal is coming up, what should I do? When a QBR is coming up, what should I do? They are not majorly focused on helping the customer proactively. So that's one part of it. The second part of it is that to create this, it's very difficult for the CS guys to create these playbooks, which everyone in the team can follow, because you do not have a template bank. You're rather reliant on your real life situations in this particular organization that you've faced. So manually building playbooks for, most of the customer conditions and situations, lifetime events, or, tips in typical health scores, let's say ticketing features, usage, it's very difficult. It can take up to 3 to 6 months because you have to come across the situation, learn from it, then build it. And what you ideally need, if you want to fast forward this, is that you would need a system which looks at your customer's health and also gives you automated alerts and alarms when something goes wrong. It knocks on your door and says that, hey, you need to look at it. And it does that so that you can work on it proactively instead of finding it out at the end of the month when you're collating reports from, let's say, support product and so on. Pre-built playbooks, you need to increase your efficiency in the process, also to ensure that when you're scaling your team, your new members in the CS team does not take a lot of time to get up and running. And you also need, of course, the ease of creating your own playbooks, customizing your own engagement patterns with the customers. So let's quickly look at how we do it in ZapScale. If you remember, we were looking at all the health KPIs that we have, and with each KPI, there was an exception handling built onto it. What it leads to is this playbook section. We have 50 playbooks pre-created, which basically takes care of majority of customer events that can happen. For example, let's look at one of them. What should you do when a customer is inactive on your product for a particular timeline? Even inside that, we have built up, cadences that what should you do when the customer is just gone inactive, when it's inactive for some time, when it's inactive for, some longer time. If I go inside a playbook, you would see that the structure is really simple. There is a condition which is looked at a particular cadence, daily, monthly, weekly, you can choose. When the condition is true, a task is created for the primary person responsible with resolution steps. A message is created with the wider group, let's say the head of CS, the head of accounts, saying that this problem is identified and your team member is already looking at it. And you have a choice of sending out an email also, either to your internal team or a nudge to your customer to get back and get active on your product. And you can create as many playbooks as you want on top of these, but we already have playbooks for, let's say, what should you do when the customer's overall health is in the unwanted red section, when a customer is inactive, when the software usage is bad, when the ticketing health is bad, when the comms are not as they should be, when the payment health is bad, they're not feature fit with you, when there's an upsell coming up, but your decision maker users are not active on your product, which can be a major hindrance. When a renewal is coming up, when a QBR is coming up, when there's a churn risk, when there is, your overall users are either inactive or in the red section. So all these playbooks are pre-built. You can start using them right from day one. So quick summary of what we do in terms of CS Ops in ZapScale. The playbooks essentially are pre-built. There are 40 pre-built playbooks for different situations, like poor business health, poor product health, signs of churn, upsell, renewal, poor customer interaction, user activity, poor customer health. What a playbook essentially does is it checks for a condition whenever you want it to, usually daily, and automatically notifies the primary person who can solve it, creates a message with the wider group, and create tasks and suggestive steps to solve it, which you can of course edit and make it aligned with your organizational culture for solving issues for the customer. So that's what we do. And just a quick recap of what we have seen right from the top. We have seen adopting and enabling innovation is vital for your future. And to do that, your CS needs to improve on your customer health and needs to improve your CS ops. That brings us to a quick question. Just wanted to understand from you. I know we are a minute over time, but what is it that you are looking at, let us say, solving and automating for CS in the next 1 or 2 quarters? Is there something that you're particularly looking at, like solving for the health score, checking your customer adoption better, helping them achieve their time to value faster? Are you looking at making your CS more proactive? Is there anything else that you're looking at solving? Please let us know.
I can see a couple of responses. We'll wait for another 20 seconds to end the poll, and then I'll share the results.
Awesome, thanks, Shivan. I can see the results are up. Okay, I believe majority of you are looking at decreasing the time to value for your customers, which means that you want to actively track how they're adopting your features, what is their journey like, and proactively help them whenever you see a dip. That's awesome. I believe that's the first step towards getting a better retention. Retention starts the first day your customer interacts with you and with your product. Majority of the other people are talking about, okay, alerts and alarms for life cycle events like a QBR is coming up, renewal, churn threats. You would want to be alerted on that. And health scoring also takes a large section. That's awesome. That's awesome. I see that there are a couple of questions which have come in, which I can see. I'm sure Shivam can see more questions. Manas Shah is asking if we have a trial account. I was just about to come to that. Manas, unfortunately, the answer is no. It's not something that you can try it out by yourself, but we would love to get you onboarded in one day. That's what we have done with quite a few of our customers. I would love to talk with you and see that how soon we can get you started. Right now, ZapScale is offering, we are at a period where we are looking for the right fit customers to come use a product and tell us how we can improve. So we have a 3-month of free usage period that we are offering to the right fit B2B SaaS customers. Quickly talking about the key things that you can achieve with ZapScale if you want to try us out and help us in this journey by providing valuable feedback. You'll get 40 out of the box health KPIs, which will from day one get you started with your customer health tracking, which 30% of the people said that they wanted to do. You would get 50 pre-built CS playbooks, which means that from day one, again, your CS operations is on spot. You are on top of what is happening, good or bad, with your customer. Plus, majority of the people have been looking for, as you said, to track your product feature adoptions and see that if your time to value from the customer is as low as possible. So for that, we have this no code drag and drop feature tagging, which your customer team, your accounts team can set them up by themselves. Since we are plug and play integration, we will onboard you in one day flat, and we would not limit you to only use ZapScale within your customer success team, but rather we would want you to get more people so that you can solve for the customer proactively. Because I mean, we feel that customer success is not, of course, just a team's prerogative to solve, but retention, customer success are things which you solve as an organization. Would love to, chat with you and discuss more on any of these points or anything else that we discussed today. I would quickly leave my LinkedIn in the chat, and I'll also leave my Calendly if you want a quick 30-minute chat. And yeah, look forward.
There's one more question, Kundan, from Anita. She asks that we are a small team of 5 people managing CS. Getting a CSP is a full-time activity that will require an admin to maintain an org. Is it advisable then for us to get a CS platform already?
Hey, listen, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand that you think that it might be difficult for you to set up. The exact thing that we want to solve with ZapScale is ease of doing customer success the correct way in your business, which is why we come with this pre-built playbooks, we come with this pre-built health KPIs. We give you a very, very simple way to track your feature adoption to improve time to value for your customers. And we have already onboarded a couple of batches of customers, and we have been able to onboard them in one day flat. So would be excited to talk to you and figure out how we can do that for you.
Okay, I don't see there are any more questions. I have in the chat box, you can see I have posted the link of Kundan's LinkedIn and Calendly. If you want to book a meeting with him and take this on forward, you can click on the link and book a meeting. If you have any more questions, we'll be soon sending you the recording of the webinar and the presentation that we just presented. You can respond back if you want to take a conversation further and talk to Kundan anytime.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks, Shivam, for summing that up. Thanks for staying, this long with us. Absolutely a pleasure talking to you. Would love to, connect with you anytime on LinkedIn, WhatsApp, email, and, take our discussion forward. Thanks for joining, guys.
Thanks for your time, everyone.